All right, so today we're doing arithmetic sequences, 4.6. I'm handing out a worksheet as well as you're doing on page 214 and 15, 17, 19, 45, and 46. So my first question is, what is an arithmetic sequence? We can see that it's an arithmetic sequence if a sequence of numbers has a common difference. For instance, each time between the consecutive numbers, we are adding 5. That 5 is what we call the common difference. 5, 10, 15, and 20 are what we call the terms of an arithmetic sequence. So my next question is, what would be the next 3 terms of this arithmetic sequence? So, Jacob, you said negative 35 what?
Negative 35.
All right, it paused for some reason. So we can see that the next 3 numbers in the sequence will be negative 35, okay, actually before we go there, let's talk about what we see here. Notice that it says the position. The first term is what we call position 1, or the first term. So any sequence of numbers, let's say I'm doing 5, 10, 15, I can put this into term numbers or positions. I can make this look like position 1, 2, or 3. I can also read that as term 1, 2, and 3. And these are the actual terms. Does that make sense? So we can take any sequence and put them into, give them a position number or a term number. Yes?
So would the 1, 2, and 3 be the terms or just terms?
They're just the terms. Okay? They're the term numbers. All right. We are noticing that the common difference is 7. So I know for this, negative 7. I'm adding negative 7 every time. So my next 3, I would say, is negative 35, negative 42, negative 49. Okay, are there any questions? Yes?
On the homework tonight, you have to show the table to show.
No, I don't think so. I think
Ordered pairs?
you don't have to show it as ordered pairs, but you have to know that anytime you're given a sequence, you can create those ordered pairs, right? So if they asked you to graph that, so if I said graph 4, 8, 12, and 16, the arithmetic sequence 4, 8, 12, and 16, what would I actually be graphing? Yes. Of 1, 4, 2, 8, 3, 12, 4, 16. Does that make sense? Where your x is your term number, and this is your actual term. Or you could call this position, either one. Does that make sense? Okay, so let's move on. So, again, notice if they're asking us to plot n and a sub n is any number, a sub n is any term, okay? Hold on 1 second, sorry. Hello? One more time. We're going to call the positions our term number, and the actual a sub n is our term. Is everybody clear? That's how we refer to it. And if I were going to plot them, it would look something like this. Does that make sense, guys?
Yeah.
Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. Now, again, we would call this position on the x. Make sure and do your labels. And on the y, we call it terms. Okay? Okay. Now, when it is an arithmetic sequence, it will be in a line. If it's not in a line, it's not going to be an arithmetic sequence. So, but the 2 things you got to remember is it has to have a common difference. Is everybody clear on that? So we can make a table and look at it and see, is there a common difference here, 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 and is there a common difference up here? Yes.
why is there on that line graph, it goes 0, 4, 6, 8, 0. What does that 0 show? Is it supposed to be 10?
Yes, there was a typo. Sorry.
Okay.
You're right. Okay. Moving on. This is really kind of... so because it is... I'm going to skip this and go to my notes. Okay, my notes. Because I think they're a little bit better. Okay, here we go. Let's start with an arithmetic sequence has a common difference, and it's between consecutive terms. Please write these notes. Now, you're probably going to want to highlight the formula so you know what to use. So our rules for an arithmetic sequence, the formula is a sub n equals a sub 1 plus n minus 1, the quantity of n minus 1 times d, where a sub n is the nth term, any term. When we say the nth term, we're looking at any term. And what about a sub 1 is our first term in the sequence. N is the number of terms, and D is our common difference. Pause the recording and take your notes. So a couple questions that came up is a n and n the same thing as in the table? Yes. N is the number of the term, and a sub m is the term number you're talking about. All right, so let's first decide. Take a minute and let's practice and tell me if this is an arithmetic sequence. Okay? It is an arithmetic sequence if you can find the common difference. So I'd like you to do 1 through 4 right now. Go. Pause the recording. So what do we have for number 1? Is this an arithmetic sequence, Vivian?
Yes, because the constant changes 4.
Because the common difference is 4. Good. Number 2, is it an arithmetic sequence? How about Anthony?
No, because the numbers are
Okay, there's no common difference. Good. Number 3, Kenley.
No.
Why?
Because to get from 1 to 4, you have to add 3, but then the rest of them are adding 4.
Correct. So there's no common difference. That's your answer. Jackson.
It is arithmetic because it's subtracting 4 each time.
Okay, because you are subtracting 4 every time. Good. Okay, questions? Yes. Okay, so the common difference is -4. All right, now, writing a rule for the nth term of the sequence. So that means is I want a rule. So if I said to you, what is the 100th term of the sequence? Do you want to sit there and write all 100 terms out? Who wants to sit there and go, add 4, add 4, add 4, add 4 100 times? Nobody wants to spend their time doing that, and that's why we learn formulas. So what is my formula? Who can remind me? Let's go with Arun.
A sub n equals a1 plus n minus 1 times the quantity of d
Plus the quantity of n minus 1 times the common difference. Okay, now, what do we have out of this sequence? What can you tell? What are they giving us? Arun.
Well, they give us the first term.
Good. So I'm going to substitute that. It's 48. Okay. What else are they giving me? Yes.
The n, 25.
No, not yet. Yep.
They're giving you the common difference.
The common difference. So we need the rule first. N minus 1. And the common difference is 5. Good. And now I'm going to simplify it so I can get what's called an explicit formula. Okay? An explicit. You can write this as an explicit or in an explicit formula or as in a recursive formula. I'm not teaching you recursive. I'm only showing you the explicit. We'll talk about recursive later. So when I'm here, I can distribute. And I get 48 plus 5n minus 5. And now we combine our like terms, and what do I get? Plus 43. Now, this is the explicit. Everybody, if they ask you for the rule, it's the explicit rule. Okay, we call this the explicit rule. If they want the explicit rule, you're going to give the formula like this. Okay, if they ask you for the explicit rule, you're going to give it to us like this. Now, how might I find the 25th term, Jack? Okay, so every time I see n, I'm going to plug it in. A to the 25th. The 25th term of A equals 5 times the 25th term plus 43. And now I've got A, the 25th term is equal to 125 plus 43. And so what is the 25th term? 168. So now I have done two things. I have given you the explicit rule, and I have found the 25th term. I'd like you to pause the recording and do the same thing on number 2. Go. Okay. So, who can tell me? I'm using my formula. What am I substituting in? Okay, let's go with Noah.
For D, I got -18.
Negative 18. Agree or disagree? Okay, I've got my n minus 1. Keep going, Noah.
And then for my N, I substituted it with 20.
No, not yet.
Oh.
Because I want the rule too.
You distribute me -18.
Before that, shh,
You replace the A with -21.
negative 21. Now, if it's asking for a rule, then you don't get to substitute the term in right then. If they want the rule and the 25th term, okay, then you don't get to substitute the 25 right away. If they only ask you for the 25th term, then you can substitute it right away. Okay, so I've got A sub n equals negative 21 minus 18n plus 18. So I have A sub n equals negative 21, positive 18 is negative 3. And I have negative 18n. And so now what am I doing to find my 25th term? Kenley.
You substitute the ends with 25.
So when I'm doing this, this means the 25th term. When there's just an A sub n, it means the nth term, any term. Do I have to do it this way? When do I have to do it this way? When they ask for the rule and the 25th term. Okay, so I am doing negative 18, and I'm putting in there the 25th minus 3, and what did you guys get? 153. Okay, there you go. Okay, questions? Yeah.
How do you say A?
The 25th term. We would just say, I want the 25th term is equal to negative 18 times 25 minus 3. Okay? All right. Now, they might just give you, sometimes on the worksheet, they're going to just give you. All right. Now, this is a little bit above. This is more like Algebra 2. We don't need to know this, but I'm going to show you. Okay? Shh. All right, so if they just give me 2 term numbers, one thing I can do is I can find the common difference between both the position number and the actual term. So notice, down here is the term number, right? This is like our X, and this is like our Y. This is the actual term. And so when I get that, I end up with 25 minus 10 is what? 15 over, which equals 3. So we know our common difference is 3. So remember, I'm doing the sub numbers, the positions in the denominator. Because remember, a rate of change is always change in y over the change in x. Are you guys equating this to what we were doing? Yeah.
Is it the same as like as slope?
Yeah. Pretty much. You've got two, you're right. So here you've got, what is this ordered pair? So this is your 15, 10, and this is your 20, 25. I'm glad you're making those connections. So she's saying, is it like the slope formula? It's another way to do it is the change in y over the change in the x. Right? All right. So I am about to... I got a plug. Sorry. All right. So now we've got our common difference, which is 3. And now we can take either of the two terms. So let's say the 15th term, right? We know that we're replacing the n with 15. We're replacing the n with 15. And we can find our first term. Let's look for our first term, right? We know to write the rule, we need a common difference and the first term. Are you guys clear with me? Yeah. So what am I doing? I'm using the term number because that's what's given so that I can find this. So now I've got, are you guys with me? Okay, do I know what the 15th term is? What is it? 10. So I can substitute that in as well. And then we can solve for the first term. So now help me write the term number. I mean the rule. Sorry. Help me write the rule. What is it? I've got my first term. I have my common difference. Edward, what would my rule be for these two? Okay, Lauren? I want the rule for the nth term. What? What? We don't have to do any plugging. Yes. Okay, to write the rule, we need Jack.
Is it a to the n?
A sub n equals
Negative 32
-32 plus
plus the quantity of n minus 1
times.
multiplied by 2.
Perfect. So we went backwards. Now again, remember this is from the Algebra 2 book. Okay? But I thought some people were able, so I thought I'd bring it up. Go above and beyond. So if I want the rule for these two terms, here's how we do it. You want to try it again?
Yes.
Can I move the slide? Okay, let's try it one more time. And if you wanted to simplify it down, it would be here. That's just simplifying it. All right, so what do I do first? You guys walk me through it. Shh. What am I doing first? I think we worked on the common difference. Kenley, what am I subtracting on top?
On top, you're subtracting 37 minus negative 23.
Perfect.
And then on the bottom, you're subtracting
Shh.
27 minus.
Perfect. And we get, that's a 0, 60, and over here,
50.
okay, and what does that equal? 4. Oh, that equals 4. Okay, we found, what do we need to write the equation, of the explicit rule for the nth term? We need two things.
The difference and a of 1.
The difference and the first term. We've got the difference. Now we got to go for the first term. Okay? So what formula am I using? Yep.
A of, can I use 12? But
Sure, they have 12.
is equal to n of one, a of 1 plus the quantity of 12.
Minus 1 times 4. What else can I substitute in here? Yes.
12 too.
The 12th term, which is
Negative 23.
negative 23. So this is really 11 times 4 is 44. Right? And I'm substituting in my negative 23. Now what? Vivian?
Then you put it into
Not yet.
you
What am I looking for? There's only one thing.
one.
Right. So what do I got to do to get A1 alone?
You have to subtract 44.
Subtract 44, and we get negative 67. So who's going to help me write the explicit rule for the nth term? Let's go with, how about Harrison? What is it? A sub n equals what?
Equals negative 67 plus the quantity of
The quantity of Anthony?
The quantity of n plus, minus 1
Uh-huh.
times 4.
Times 4. Now let's simplify it, guys. A sub n equals negative 67 plus 4n minus 4. Let's put these together, combine our like terms, and so the rule is negative 71 plus 4n, and there is my explicit rule for this sequence. Is this any easier?
Yes.
Okay. All right. They're giving me, sometimes they might give you the difference and just a term number. And they want the rule. So how am I going to start, guys? What do I start with? What's the general formula first? Yeah.
The rule that we usually do, so you put A17.
A sub n,
Oh.
the general
The
formula.
is A sub n is equal to A sub 1, is that how you say it?
Uh-huh.
Plus the quantity of n minus 1 times d.
Times d. Now, what are they giving me? Jacob.
The common number decreasing by.
Okay. More than that, what do I do next? Leilani?
They give you A sub 17.
Okay,
And
so
you substitute A sub n with A sub 17.
or
Or,
I can really just go right for this,
oh, yeah.
right? So this would go here, and then we don't know what our first one is, but what goes in here? Yes. What term number is that?
Oh, 17.
The 17th minus 1, and my common difference is negative 4. So now I'm doing 22 equals the first term plus 16 times negative 4. Okay? 22 equals the first term plus, or actually it's minus 64. Add 64, add 64, and we get 86 equals the first term. So what is the rule? Mark, what's the rule?
The rule is A sub 7.
A sub n.
Is equal to A sub 1.
No. regarding these 2 points. Kenley?
A sub n is equal to 86
Uh-huh.
plus 17.
Nope. It's for anyone. A sub n is for any nth term. Nikki?
The quantity of n minus 4
Times the common difference of negative 4. Simplify it. A sub n equals 86 minus 4n plus 4. So A sub n equals 90 minus 4n. Does that make sense? Okay. So remember, just plug in what they're giving you. And then simplify it out. Any questions? All right. This is really above and beyond, so I'm going to stop right there. My math counts. Who's in here for math counts? Anybody? This will help you. I want to show it to you later, but I'll show you right after. Okay. Pause the recording, and that's the lesson.